We often move through our days under the comforting illusion that we are entirely in control of our choices. We wake up, choose our clothes, decide what to eat for breakfast, and plan out our work hours, believing that every single action is the direct result of a conscious, deliberate decision made in the present moment. But modern psychology and neuroscience paint a vastly different picture of human behavior. Research reveals that nearly half of our daily behavior is not decided in the moment at all. Instead, it is triggered automatically by the environment around us. When you walk into your living room and immediately sit down on the couch to turn on the television, or when you instinctively reach for your phone, the very second a notification lights up the screen, you are not making a reasoned choice. Your brain is simply executing a pre-existing program triggered by a specific cue in your surroundings. Our environments are filled with invisible prompts that constantly dictate our actions, driving us to repeat habits without our conscious consent. We are deeply reactive creatures, and our immediate physical spaces act as a silent architect, shaping our lives for better or for worse every single hour of the day. Because we fail to recognize this environmental control, we make the mistake of attributing all of our successes and failures to our personal level of discipline. We look at individuals who eat healthily, exercise regularly, stay focused on their work, and maintain clean spaces, and we praise them for having an extraordinary amount of self-control. We assume they must possess some rare heroic mental strength that allows them to constantly resist the temptations that defeat the rest of us. However, when scientists study these highly disciplined individuals, they discover an unexpected truth that completely redefines how we think about success. The people with the most self-control do not actually spend their days engaged in brutal, exhausting internal battles against temptation. They are not sitting in front of a plate of junk food using sheer willpower to keep from eating it. Instead, they have simply designed their lives to avoid these exhausting conflicts altogether. They have removed the friction, not the temptation. They understand that willpower is a limited resource that drains rapidly as the day goes on, and that relying on it is a losing strategy. By structuring their home, workspace, and daily routines so that the things they want to do are incredibly easy to access and the things they want to avoid are highly inconvenient, they make positive behavior the natural default. This shift in perspective changes how we should approach any habit we are struggling to build. If a habit isn't sticking, your instinct might be to blame yourself, assume you lack motivation, or try to force your way through with a new wave of strict discipline. But trying to force a behavior change through pure effort is like trying to swim upstream against a raging current. Instead of trying to change your discipline, you need to change what is easiest to reach. Human beings are hardwired to seek the path of least resistance. We naturally gravitate toward the options that require the absolute minimum amount of effort. If you want to drink more water, but the bottles are tucked away in the back of the pantry, you will drink whatever is closest to you. But if you place a glass of water on your desk before you sit down to work, you will drink it without even thinking. If you want to read more, but your television remote is resting prominently on the coffee table, the television will win every time because the friction to watch it is zero. If you move that remote to another room and place an open book directly on your pillow in the morning, you drastically lower the friction of reading and increase the friction of your distraction. This simple principle applies to everything. If you want to eat healthier, place a bowl of fresh fruit on the kitchen counter and hide the processed snacks deep inside a high cabinet. If you want to practice an instrument, keep it on a stand in the middle of your room rather than packed away in a closet. You do not need to become a completely different, highly disciplined person to change your life. You simply need to make the right choices, the easiest choices to reach in your environment. When we stop viewing our habits as a continuous moral test of our character and start viewing them as design problems to be solved, we free ourselves from a massive amount of unnecessary guilt and frustration. We begin to see that our homes, our offices, and our digital interfaces are constantly whispering instructions to our subconscious minds, guiding us towards specific actions before we even have a chance to think. By taking conscious control of these spaces, we can decide exactly what those whispers should say. We can construct a world that naturally pulls us toward our highest goals, turning success into an automated byproduct of our surroundings. The key to lasting change is not to build a stronger mind, but to design a smarter environment that works with your nature rather than against it. So look closely at your own life and think about the areas where you feel stuck or disappointed in your progress. Which habit have you been trying to force through willpower that's actually an environment problem?